Today I'm just going to be talking very quickly about the different bows for the instruments in the string family. Each instrument has its own bow, which are different to the other instruments in the family. For example, the violin and viola bow are slightly different. We'll start with the violin bow, and I'll work through all the parts of the bow for you so you know what they are. You have the horsehair, which is the white part that runs along the tip to toe. You have the stick itself, which is slightly bent, again from tip to toe, and the other main part is this black bit here at the end, which is called the frog. This controls the tension of the hair against the bow. As I said, the bows are slightly different from instrument to instrument. The main way you can tell the difference of a violin bow is if it has a square frog here, that corner is quite sharp, that's usually a violin bow. The viola bow is near enough the same length. It is a heavier bow and it has a rounded edge. As you can see there, it's slightly curved at the end. The cello bow is a shorter bow, but it is thicker, it has more hair on it, it's much heavier, and it has a bigger frog and again is curved. The double bass bow is the biggest of the lot. It's actually the shortest, the most amount of hair, and has the biggest frog, and again is curved at the end. Now there are two double bass bows. This here is the French style of bow, which has a different style of grip to the other double bass bow, which is the German double bass bow. This has a different style of grip to the one I've just shown you, and they're played slightly differently. This one has a slightly bigger curve in it, and the end is slightly longer. As you can tell, there's a fairly big difference between the two. To use the bow, I'll go back to a violin one. It's the most common and is probably the easiest to explain. You will need to tighten the hair. The hair right now is quite loose and you can pull it off quite easy. What you need to do is you need to turn the screw at the end here, which is the silver knob, which will tighten the hair. It basically pulls this frog back. There's a little screw mechanism in here, and all it does is pull the frog back, which tightens the hair. Now, a lot of people have trouble with how tight you need it. A big problem that people come across is the hair can often come out, or sometimes the bow can even snap at the end where it's weakest. Now, that's usually a problem with over tightening or leaving the bow up to tension. How tight you need it is a good question, and there's a trick that I always use, which is using a pencil. If you tighten the bow up and the distance between the wood and the hair, if you can fit a pencil in that and it kind of slips through quite nicely, fits in there and tucks in quite well, that's usually a good tension. Maybe a little bit tighter on that, and then the other way is just to press it against the back of the hand, and if you apply a little bit of pressure you can see that the stick isn't touching the hair, and that's what you want. So I'd say that that is a good enough tension. Once you finish playing, obviously you need to get it up to tension before you play. You finish playing and you finish practicing, slacken the bow off. Make sure you do this, really important, slacken the bow off and put it back in your case. If you don't slacken the bow off, you're likely to come back to your case and find that some hairs have come out, and over time you'll lose so much hair that you need to either get your bow re-haired or buy a new bow. So make sure you slacken your bow off. That goes the same for all the bows here. The cello bow needs a slightly different amount of tension, just slightly more than you'd give the violin. It does need a bit more tension, and the same with the double bass bow. You will also need to apply rosin to all the bows to create friction between the hair on the bow and the strings on your instrument, which will create the sound, create vibrations, creates a sound in the body of the instrument. Now, do that by simply rubbing rosin up and down the length of the bow. If your bow is brand new and has no rosin on it, you'll need to do this for a couple of minutes. If it's got some rosin on it already and you're just topping it up, 10-15 seconds and you should be fine, and you'll notice that your sound will just be a bit louder and a bit more vibrant. You'll need to do that with the hair tensioned up as well. The only slight difference is with the double bass bows. When you're rosining them, the rosin on the double bass bow is much stickier than that of a violin, cello or viola. So go in one direction. Don't go up and down, because it's so sticky that if you go up and then come down, you may actually pull the hair out of your bow. So only go up or only go down when it comes to double bass rosin. And that's about it. Hope that helps.